Welcome back to Fred Talk. I am your host, Freddie Valoy. This is another Dolocast, just me and you, baby. And today I'm going to be answering the Ask Me Anything. So if you're a Reddit person, you already kind of know about this. Famous people or people of whatever, experts in their subject, this and that, they'll throw out and ask me anything, and people get to ask them anything. All right. And now I'm not a notable person, but I be doing my thing. You feel me? So the reason I did this was because I was low on creativity and I wanted to do a Dolocast, and I felt like this was the best way to do it. Have people ask me stuff, advice, silly questions, and I'll answer them. I'll answer them seriously. I'll answer them sillily, but probably be a little bit of a mix of both. So I'm going to start with some advice. Someone actually reached out to me a couple weeks ago. This was a lady, part of the IG clan. She asked me, so it was some dating advice. And the thing about this is that she knew the answer before I even responded. Literally asked me the question. It was like in 3 or 4 separate texts, kind of like, what should I do? Then at the last thing, she sent the voice thing and sent the answer to the question, which is most of advice, right? You know what to do, but you know what to do, but it's either too tough of a decision and you're like, let me make sure this is the way I go before I do it. Or for most people, I feel like it's too tough of a decision, and they're like, let me go talk to some other people to see if they tell me to do the thing I actually want to do, which is usually the thing that's unproductive for your life. But this person knew what was up. She went on a date with the dude. He's hot as fuck. He planned a fun date, which was like to a music show, but that was like a month out or something like that. They went on the first date. She knew it wasn't for her, right? I got to tell you the phase of her life she's in, right? Because that's important. She's in I'm looking for something long-term, something serious. This is what I want. I think she's past the hoe phase. I didn't ask her if she did a hoe phase, but hopefully she did, just for healthy long-term things. Everybody needs a healthy hoe phase so that they get perspective, right? She knew it wasn't for her, but she was still like, God, but he's so hot though. He's so hot. And we've all been there. Flip the genders, whatever you're into. You've been to that point where you're like, this person kind of sucks, but I'm trying to see what it's like. You feel me? I'm trying to feel, I'm trying to feel something. I think we can go to Pleasure Town with me and this person. We can go to Pleasure Town and have some fun and whatever. But And the last voice message she sent me was, I should dead it, whatever. And I told her, obviously you already answered your question. You should dead it. But then I told him, like, listen, don't let horny you get in the way of real you. Because horny you is only 20% of the whole situation. Horny you can only see 20% of the situation. And it's going to mess it up for the rest of you, the 80% of you that's trying to do things in life, that's trying to be fulfilled, that's trying to heal, right? So don't let horny you get in the way of real you. And if it happens to happen, because it does, bro, especially when in your youth, horny you has a hold. Don't beat yourself up about it. Okay? So we're going to move on. This is a question I get from a lot of young men. I've gotten it throughout, especially in the last few years. Dudes are like in their mid-20s, they're trying to figure it out, Maybe they might dip into nihilism or something like that. Every man that's living life goes through like a stint of nihilism where you're like, why are we here? None of this matters, blah, blah, blah. And it's a sad place to be. But I feel like for the most part, every dude should traverse into nihilism for a little bit for 2 months or something like that. Because I don't know, I think it helps the long-term perspective. I don't think nihilism is very cool or a very sustainable perspective, because then you'll quickly dip into suicidal thoughts and why am I here? Why am I doing this? Especially if you're on constant drug use, Adderall, Coke, things like that, things that alter your brain chemistry. Mix that with nihilism, you're looking for a dark road ahead of you. So you better figure it the hell out. And a lot of highly intelligent people, super smart people, can fall into this frustrating trap. So a lot of young men will ask me, and I don't know what constitutes as a lot, but it's almost double digits at this point in the past couple of years. What can I do to be a better man? And I tell them, well, first of all, the fact that you're asking that question already means that you're on the right track. If you're a young dude looking at another, like an older guy, I'm 36, right? These are guys in their mid-20s asking me. I did the same thing when I was 25, asking the older dudes. If you're asking that question, you're already on the right track. If you haven't and you want to know the answer to that question, start asking people in your life. If you cannot find someone that you can ask that question to, that you trust, that is credible, and that you want to be like, then you need to find a person that you want to be like in your life. It could be someone, it doesn't have to be someone older. You know, you should find inspiration from all age ranges. For me, and I think a lot of comedians do this, I have a lot of like friends or acquaintances in different generations: boomers, Gen X, Gen Z, the ones before. Like I'll sincerely ask kids questions, like a 10-year-old. Hey, what's going on? What's going on with this? Or I like to ask a child, like a 10-year-old, like, hey, what's new in your life? Like, just like you're talking to an adult, and they'll just go off and tell you. What are friends your age saying this? Whatever. So if you can't find that person, take the time to find that person in your life. But find a mentor would be one thing if you want to be a better man. Figure yourself out. If you feel like you've been smoking, drinking, if you've been dipping into the pleasure pool a little too much, back off for a little bit. It'll clear your head off. Even if I'm not saying be sober for life, whatever, unless you're completely ruining your life. But it'll give you some clarity. Do 30 days, no weed, no this, no that. And if you're like, well, I smoke weed because it makes you anxious, there's a good chance that the weed is making you anxious. Trust me. Just give it a shot. If you've never taken a long-term break, a month or so, take a break from the drinking, from the this, and from the that. And if you're a little crazy like I am, I like to do that during a time when everybody's doing it. So last year I took my drinking and, smoke break right around this time it was. I started watching anime again, and I got super inspired. And I was like, yo, if this little kid is out here achieving his dreams, I could do the same. And I took a break because I felt like I was dumping into the pleasure pool a little too much with drinking whiskey and all that stuff. So if you want to be a man, clean yourself up, find a role model, find someone you admire. In your group of friends, there should be a percentage of each of your friends that annoys you, right? Because that means you guys have difference of opinion and you can have disagreements, this and that. But there should also be something about every person in your group that you admire. It's just one thing: their work ethic, how nice they are, how relaxed they are. Find the thing. If you cannot do that, change your group of friends. Have someone in your group of friends you can tell good news to and bad news to. Sometimes those are the same person, but not always. This is where a lot of people get into trouble. They want to find everything in one person, and that is nobody, dog. All right? I got friends that I could call when I'm going through a tough time, which, hell yeah, I do have one friend that I do that. But other than that, I talk to my therapist. If you can afford it, get therapy. It'll be $100 to $200 a session. You only got to do it once a month. It's one of the best investments you'll make, because you'll be able to express your problems, your insecurities, and all that to a person without necessarily having to do it to the woman in your life. And that can cause problems. Some people have different philosophies on that. I think you do it to a therapist and you come correct to your person. But that's just me. Better man. That's enough for better man. We get it. All right. Work out, some kind of physical activity, take walks. Don't be a dick. That's where I'll end on that one. Okay. Another question from Ask Me Anything. What is with the current trend of very short shorts on dude? Dude, fashion is cyclical. Cyclically. It's coming back. The short shorts. And I'm happy. As you know, I am, they called me Hoochie Daddy Prime back in the hood. Short shorts were my thing. I was a wrestler. I was a grappler. We did, short shorts. I did, some wrestlers would do the spandex shorts in practice. I was one of those. When I was a cage fighter, I did the Vanderlei Silva tight spandex 5-inch inseam. It just feels better. It makes me feel more powerful. Why is it in trend? It's cyclical. That's it. I don't think, this was Hoochie Daddy season this summer, and I didn't see too many Hoochie Daddy shorts. It's not for everybody, man. You just got to wear whatever makes you feel powerful. That's it. I'm going to keep rocking them. I rocked them before the trend. I'm going to rock them after. It's a look that I like. It just does something. The lines, the minimal tan lines. I don't really like super duper tan lines on me. On women, super hot. On me, I don't like it. I look like fucking bootleg Neapolitan ice cream. So, next question. if you had to leave your house in a hurry, what is the one thing that you will grab? She said thing. Obviously, everybody's going to say my wife, my kids, but she said thing, not person. I got to tell you, I'm leaving everything in. And I might even take the clothes I have on and just leave them in the house too and just start anew. Just watch the house burn very poetically, you know? I will take the outfit that I have. There's a little laughing Buddha that sits on my nightstand. My mom got it for me when she was in Cuba. And I would say that's the only thing I have a emotional attachment to. If I had to pick one thing, that's what it would be. It's something I can keep in my pocket. It's pretty. Every time I look at it, it makes me smile or makes me like think of something like a positive thought. And I'm not gonna front. When I look at the laughing Buddha, I'm like, nigga, that's you. I'm the laughing Buddha. That's why I'm a sucker. I watch anime, and I am a sucker for a hero that uses Buddhist iconography in their attacks. Like there's one dude in this one show. One of his attacks, because, you know, in anime, they say the name of the attack. It's Laughing Buddha Jutsu. Like, I'm just like, ooh, what? The gracious deity gates? Get out of here, bro. 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva? Bro, come on, dude. We out here in this bitch. I love when motherfuckers are spiritual, but they still have hands. Happy-go-lucky motherfuckers. That when they get serious, they're in there. So I would say it would be the little Buddha on my nightstand. Will you MC? Next question. Will you MC my wedding when I marry the man I'm about to go on a date with tonight? So that was actually the person that asked for the advice a couple weeks ago that I started this episode with. Hit me up. Maybe I know her. We've met in person. And she always, you know, reaches out and stuff. So there's something to when you ask me questions on IG and you fuck with my stuff. There's a connection. If I have the availability, emotionally and time wise, I'll do it. I'll do it for you because I am an ordained minister, right? Just because I'm not getting married in my own personal relationships does not mean I can't help others that believe in that do it. That's how you know I'm real about my open-minded shit, bro. I think, yeah. I wouldn't get married, but I would marry the hell out of some people, right? It's probably like a porn director, right? Maybe he won't do porn, but he'll direct it because he has the eye. He can go, oh, this is going to be a good scene. And that's how I go to weddings too. If you ask me to go to your wedding, first of all, I'm probably going to say no because I got about one more wedding in me. I think my sister might get married, but I'm good. It's all the same. I get it. Navy blue suits, some blush pink dresses, drinking, dancing, cha-cha slide. Yeah, everybody's doing it. Yeah, it's cool. I get it. Awesome. But just don't invite me to your wedding. Unless if you're listening to this and you're like, no, me and Freddie are close, I'm going to do it. That's cool. And if at that point I say no, it's either because I have a date booked for comedy, which is hard right now because it's, you know, it's like usually weddings are like a year out. So you can't even lie and be like, yo, I got to go to the dentist and get my teeth cleaned. I really can't move it. This guy's the best teeth cleaner in the business, right? You can't be doing that. So I got to believe in the couple. If I, you know, because I know there's some weddings where people get invited to that you see the groom's party and the bridesmaid's party, and you could tell. And I've talked to women where they're like you could tell they got the invite just for the pictures. There was a bridesmaid at a wedding I talked to. She's like, I don't even know how I got invited to this wedding. And those are the people that aren't in. I don't think they're in it for the love. They're in it for the Instagram photos and the look, I got married. Mom, get off my back. This weird social pressure that's, you know, it comes from society, but it's also self-inflicted. It just drove you to do the wrong thing. So you can hire me for your divorce party. I do divorce parties. I do bachelorette parties. I do circumcision reversal parties. Hire me to do stand-up and host your event. Okay, next question. If you fart by yourself, do you have to say, excuse me? No, but you do have to smell it because it's a spiritual experience. So I'm going to answer that one last because it's about my dick. Top 5 favorite books. Okay, I'm going off the dome on this one. I forgot I should have wrote this one down. The Art of Impossible. I think it's by Steven Kotler. That one might be the only self-help type book you'll need. It tells you the what, where, why, and gives you actionable plans. Tells you to pretty much focus on the mind, body, soul. Tells you how to do it, and it tells you how to achieve what would someone would think is an impossible feat. So it's such a good listen. I've listened to it twice. It's great. Daring Greatly. So that's like for self-help, right? Daring Greatly by Brene Brown is another great one. That one's going to touch on the more relationship and emotional stuff. That one helped my relationship. It helped me get over a hump. It helped me realize that I wasn't leaning in to certain situations in the relationship. Like when you notice your girl's annoyed and you're like, she hasn't told me she's annoyed, so she should be able to, but you can tell when you're connected like that, you can tell when they're off, and just being like, hey, you okay? Like leaning into that. Women need that because their brains are small. JK. That's 2. 3, Meditations is a good foundational philosophy book, mainly because, it was written 2,000 years ago. But a lot of the things in there are still applicable today. And just that paradox is, it's fascinating. It's a very grounding book. It's something that you could read while you're reading other books. You just read a couple passages every morning. That's a good one. Norm Macdonald's book. I forgot what it's called, but Norm Macdonald, stand-up comedian, one of the greatest, the most unique, wrote a book. That book is in my top 5 as well. What else? The Dave Ramsey Total Money Makeover. That's a good financial book. It just, I grew up, I didn't learn until I was 26 that you shouldn't be really having credit cards like that. And there's different financial philosophies, but if you're struggling, I just think not owing anybody money is fucking gangster as hell. No debt, no car debt, no this. It also helps if you're into minimalism and stuff like that. It helps with that perspective. Like you don't need the Birkin bag. You don't need the fancy designer stuff. And I'm not shitting on people that do that just because I'm not into that. And I'm very grateful that I'm not, because that seems like an endless well, but I'm not looking down on people that are into that, because everybody got their own Birkin bag. Everybody got some shit that they do to feel the happiness, but it works in the moment, and that is okay. All right. This is a crazy world. It's complex, and we're all doing what we can to survive. I think I gave you 4 books, and I think I'm going to end it there with the 4 books. Yeah. All right. That's good. Those books they'll get you. Oh, this one. There's another relationship. It helps in relationship, but helps in anything else. Crucial Conversations. I've been on my soapbox on this podcast a lot about standing up for yourself and not letting people bully you and shit like that. And here's something. In adulthood, there are still bullies. They just work within the confines of society's rules. So don't fall for this shit. This is where passive aggressive can become a very useful weapon for some of these idiots. Okay? If you feel like someone's being passive aggressive, call their ass out. And this book will help you do it in a productive way. I'm not talking about get all like, what the fuck you say, bitch, with your passive aggressive ass. That's not what I'm saying, because that's not very productive. It's fun. It's fun when you can strike fear into someone's heart. I'm not going to lie about that. But that's also your ego speaking, okay? There's a way you can solve an argument or diffuse conflict by creating a safe space where people can express themselves and be honest. If you are honest, it is undefeated. I promise you. So live a life that you can be honest about and just be honest. Like if someone calls you out on something and you're like, oh yeah, I did do that, this and that. It just trust me. Crucial Conversations will help you when you have to have tough conversations. And that is how you get to the next level of life. That's how you get to the next level of your relationship. That's how you get to the next level of your job, so they don't take advantage of you or so they can pay you more. Crucial Conversations. It's a great book. Read that when Rachel and I were, I don't know, 4 years in or something like that. And it really helped. So that's a great one. What's your take on long distance relationships? Would you think they are sustainable? For the most part, no. What are the circumstances? I think people can do them, but they have to be mature people that understand. How long is this long distance relationship a thing? How long are you going to be seeing each other? Are your needs going to be met? Sexually, whatever. Do you trust the person? There's a lot that goes into here. I don't think it's impossible. I think they are far from impossible. I think they can be done. I just don't think most people can do them because they're not at a maturity level where they can. Oh, this person says, not a question, just a nice compliment, so I'm going to say it. Your page is just so perfect. And I looked, and it's a real account. It wasn't a bot. So thank you, person. That's very nice of you. Coming towards the end here, guys, with these questions. How did you handle the transition from the South? And will you be back? So this person's from New Jersey that asked me. I actually loved it. Me and my sister are very like free spirits, I guess you could say. And side note, if someone calls you a free spirit, see where it's coming from, because that, especially with conservative people, that's a nice way to tell you that you're a fuck up. It's that be careful. If someone says free spirit, make sure it's coming from a good place. But I enjoyed the change of pace. It was very cool to me. The idea of college, being in a new place, being on my own. My mom didn't really let me out the house until that was like one of the main reasons I started wrestling and doing athletics, was because like I'm not trying to go home at 2:30 or 2 o'clock and then wait for them. No, I want to do something that keeps me at school and around my friends longer and around people. So that was the main reason. So when I got to the South, I've very much enjoyed it. 2 months in, I was like, I'm not going back. The only reason I would go back now is for comedy, which is weird. Like like my goal right now with comedy is to try to grow an audience online and be able to live in Raleigh in North Carolina and still do my thing, which I'll be visiting New York. There'll probably be a point where I'll be there once a month. Right now I'm about to switch to every other month, at least every quarter. Because your boy just had a come up, and now it's time to invest back in the business, right? Top 5 books, long distance relationships. Yeah, I think I already answered that one. Will I be back? I enjoyed the transition to the South, man. I enjoyed different perspectives. There's different people in different parts of the country. And one thing I noticed about New Yorkers in their teens, sorry for the coughing, guys. And the last 2 episodes were a little nasally, and I hope you stuck through it with me, but I'm back. New Yorkers before they're like 21 are more advanced than people in that same age range in other parts of the country. Like it's like Casablanca. There's different races, religions, different people. You're forced to like get along with people that you maybe normally wouldn't have had you not been put so close or whatever. But then there comes a point with the New Yorker where if they don't leave, they become very sheltered and closed off. And it becomes super counterproductive. Where like the person from the suburbs in Ohio may go and actually go live in New York for like 4 years and then move and start so they start to become more worldly, less sheltered. So I will only be back if I can afford a lifestyle like bro, I live too nice down here. I'm not gonna live in a place where I gotta hound the superintendent. If I move back to New York, it's because I can move into a place that has a washer dryer in the apartment. So for those of you that know, that's a certain monthly threshold. So I gotta be killing it. If you're in New York and you're not chasing a dream, if you're just working some regular job, I would suggest leaving the place. I promise you. If you ain't in finance, you ain't killing it. If you feel like you're struggling paycheck to paycheck and you work at a leasing office, go work at a leasing office somewhere else. Raleigh's find a city that's growing. Raleigh's one of them. Charlotte, whatever. Do that. You could be a leasing manager somewhere else and have that dollar stretch a little bit more so you're not stressing out every month, okay? Because some people say if you can make it in New York, then you can make it anywhere. And I think that if you're struggling in New York, you could still make it anywhere. So figure it out. Page is perfect. All right, we're toward the end here, so I'll ask this. He said, shower or grower? What What do women or men really want? So, oh, good. He's not asking me about my penis. This whole time I thought he was asking me about, so I don't have to answer that. Gosh, thank God. A woman want a guy that's good in bed and that's going to make her come. I've done this poll a couple times. I've talked to enough women. Most women say that most of their sexual experiences are not good. Yeah, I would say big penises are overrated. You don't want something that's going to hurt a woman. If you got 4 inches, I think you're going to be doing all right. Pay attention to the clit. Pay attention to her body language as you guys are getting together. If you're on top and you put it in and she closes her legs, hey, slow it down. Slow it down was the biggest, the most advised thing when I asked how could men be better in bed on my Instagram was slow it down. Be present. Okay? Not every girl's the same. And most women, I think it's 67% or 80%, I forget which number, orgasm off of clitoral stimulation. It's not even by putting the P in the V. So if you're good at oral, I suggest try making an orgasm with your mouth before you even put your dick in. That way you could just, you could just do what you got to do. But every girl's different. Listen, pay attention. See, for them, they just got to rub at a speed and they're good. For men, it's a lot harder in this situation. We got to do the courting from beginning to end. We got to make the plans. We got to, we got to do the fucking. Yeah. So I would say, what do women, he said, or men in parentheses, this guy, he's inclusive. The women want, I don't know, a guy that pays attention. Would they want a shower or a grower? They would want a grower. They want hard dick. You want the dick to be able to be inside. That's hilarious too. And I'll end on this. Is that if you don't there's memes going around about how men don't make women come, this and that, whatever. But if you don't make a woman come, if a guy doesn't make a woman come, it's on the guy. Now, if a guy doesn't come during sex with a woman, she will be mad at him. So it's also on the guy. Say I'm lying. Trend, short dudes, MC wet. All right, we're getting through these. If I won the Powerball, how would my life change besides the obvious? So I'm going to say the obvious. I'm setting up trust and shit. I'm setting up investments to, have this shit grow on its own. The people in my tier 1, tier 2 inner circles, I'm covering all their debts up to that moment. And then I'm saying, never ask me for money again. Don't make it weird. I don't want to make it feel like you only like me because I have the money, this, and that. But I would be creating content like a motherfucker. I would hire an editing team. I would give a lot of that money away. After my family set, like my mom and dad, I get them a house or whatever, maybe a couple properties they can manage on their own, whatever. But after that, I'm hiring a team of editors and I'm just the content I want to make without having to worry anything about the editing. I'm just going to film, drop into a folder and have 2 or 3 dudes get together on editing my shit. So I could put out a lot of content, different types of content, and at a faster pace. Because this person also said that if all the boxes are checked in life, then creativity goes down. But not for me. If I'm not creative, I get sad. And if I'm worrying too much, my creativity goes down and I can spiral. So for me, I'm setting up the people closest to me. And then a good portion of that money is going to be, me meeting someone at a bar. This is so romantic right here, right? You just meet someone at a bar. They're telling, they open up. This happens to me a lot. People open up about their personal, my mother's in the hospital and this and that. And so it's all right, man. How do you feel? You good? What are you thinking? What did you think when it first happened? They'll admit things like a fucking kind of hater. Like you could develop resentment when you're a caretaker and all this. I would give that person, I would cover the hospital bills and then give them a little nest egg. So at least they didn't have to worry about that. At least they could hate their mother and have some guap in the bank. You feel me? But that's what I would do if I won the Powerball. And the last one I will close with is from a person. I got this. I should have asked him if I could quote. I know he said I can quote him. He was happy. Taylor Cashden. He was a guest on Fred Talk, and I actually got the quote from him that I really liked. He's like, he's a very opinionated person, gets his stuff out, but he disclaimers it with, I have very strong convictions, loosely held, which is great. I want somebody to passionately explain how they feel away, but then have the capability to be like, oh shit, you know what? I was wrong. I was full of shit there. I was, those are the people I could have fun conversations with. We can still get impassionate, but that passion won't solidify their thoughts. So you can build a lot more intellectually when you're hanging out with someone like that. If you're into that kind of thing. Some people don't have that thought process. I talk to some engineers sometimes, and they're, I'll be riffing and people will be laughing, and he'll be like, wait, are you serious? And I'm like, no. They'll be like, then why would you say that? They'll be like, why did you just waste a minute and a half of my time? I'm like, did you not see everybody laughing, Mr. Engineer? Huh? Maybe you need to program some laughter into your life. Turn them ones and zeros into ha-has, however you guys do that. I'm illiterate when it comes to computers. So Taylor Cashdan says, have you heard my conspiracy theory on pizza and the food pyramid? Already when you put conspiracy and pizza, it makes people, at least me, it makes me think of the Pizzagate thing with the pedophiles and all that in DC that people, remember that time when people got a little bit of truth and it made their brains melt? They started believing crazy stuff like that. All of a sudden, everyone's like, don't trust the government because it started fucking with their life, right? Anyway, I digress. Back to, so this is Taylor's theory on pizza and the food pyramid. So before they changed the dietary graphics to this new plate thing, it used to be the food pyramid, in quotes, quote unquote. And if you look at the details, portions of the pyramid, not even considering the shape, it lines up nearly perfect with the ingredient ratios for a supreme pizza. My theory, that's so true too. It lines up nearly perfectly with the ingredient ratios for a supreme pizza. So this is him. My theory, someone wrote down a recipe for a supreme pizza, left it on a board / note, etc., somewhere in the health department's nutrition office. Someone saw it and was like, awesome. The new dietary model is done, and used it as is for years. Ipso facto, pizza is the perfect food. And a supreme pizza, from the grain base to the touch of sweetness at the top of the pyramid, is the most well-balanced meal. And that was Fred Talk, guys. Thank you so much for helping me out with the Ask Me Anything. Look at that. We did over, usually Dolos are 20 minutes, but we were a little extra special with this one. And the energy was good. Sometimes sex lasts 2 minutes and sometimes it lasts 16 minutes. Right, guys? Follow me on Instagram at Freddie Valoy. Tell your friends about me. Share this. If you've made it this far, please share this episode with somebody. Love you guys. Bye.